Portanto, sem mais demoras, vamos então passar à nossa apresentação do Patrik Šolc, é ele que nos vai começar a encaminhar para os trabalhos desta tarde. Vamos então fazer esta nossa breve apresentação de Patrik Šolc para ficar esta nota de que é chairman do itSMF na República Checa. Patrik Šolc has more than 20 years of experience in IT business, over the last 17 years in management positions in global IT companies, where have led multinational IT teams in Europe, Asia, and Americas. Participated in IT projects for global customers in the position of program project manager, IT strategy and deployment of retail processes, and many others, cloud services, IT outsourcing, service desk, and call center. Patrik Šolc has more than 5 years of experience working for itSMF, the República Checa, Czech Republic, organized 4 annual itSMF conferences. Last one was online in January this year, with keynote speakers from Europe and United States of America. Patrik, if you please, let's begin.
Okay, thank you. I will start sharing my screen back. Do you see my screen?
Yes,
okay. Perfect. So, boa tarde and obrigada. And obrigado por ser convidado aqui. That's all what I know in Portuguese. I hope that the pronunciation wasn't so bad. And going back to my presentation called, do you know why a Finn and Indian need a Czech? You can also answer via chat, so we can look at it during Q&A session at the end. And I'm going to share my lessons learned, failures, and how to download and install Common Sense. So it is my experience and examples of IT service management and project management within the global companies. And it is real examples and scenarios. And finally, disclaimer, it is my experience, my point of view, so don't generalize. And also I can imagine that you could have a different point of view. And these slides could be used for your inspiration. So you can be inspired or could be something interesting for you. And this is one of my favorite pictures. Don't reinvent the wheel, and you will see later. Also, thank you, Daniela, for introduction, because in our company, we had one exercise that you should introduce yourself only by pictures. And it is my background via pictures. So I spent, as was mentioned, more than 20 years on IT provider side. Now I am on customer side. I was responsible for delivery of IT services in East Europe, then Nordic countries, and finally worldwide. And also I am very active as part of itSMF community. And I was selected as director in the board of directors itSMF International since April. So I'm also looking forward for cooperation with other chapters in Europe and not only in Europe. And sport is also my hobby and inspiration. To be team player is one example. And last year, as you also had the same experience, it was only virtual workshops, events, and meetings. So really, it's all about communication. And when we cannot meet face to face and discuss some topics in one meeting room, then also these online tools are really useful. I tell you a story. And when I was young, I remember this small chair or stool, 3 legs in the kitchen of my grandmother, and 1 leg was missing. And you can imagine what happened. And now when we look at this chair or stool with 3 legs and 1 leg is process, second one is tools, data, and third one is people. Question is, what is at the top? Who is sitting there? I used this question on LinkedIn and I received answers like service, product, robust IT service management, or a high availability solution. And also when you look at the definition of IT service, it's part of ITIL, that in past ITIL was focused on processes, but it was changed with the ITIL 4, and we are still talking about information technology, people and processes, and people are important. So at the top are our customers, and it is about people. So everything is about people, and sometimes it is forgotten, and it is about you. So agenda for today's presentation includes 5 examples. I prepared 5 examples of my lessons learned, and we go to first one, human error. This is the next my favorite picture for last 2 years regarding cybersecurity. On the left side, you see really the new technologies, the best technologies, and on the right side, we see Dave. And also, I ask questions to my colleagues. Do you have Dave in your team? Please raise hand. And others. And also, I explained that we have 2 companies. One confirmed that they have Dave in the company, and second, they don't know that they have Dave in their company. And if you replace on the left side technologies with processes, with tools, and any practices, then also all these practices are so good as is used by people. So on the right side, as Dave, we have customer user experience lessons learned, and still there is a person, and it means that there is any human error, and we need to count it. And also in UK, it's very often used lessons learned. So there is a important no blame culture, and this is another one of pictures which was prepared by Paul Wilkinson, another great speaker. And they have many cards where highlight on these cards some good approaches and some areas for improvement, and blame culture is one of them. Second lessons learned is don't underestimate preparation. So regarding preparation, imagine how long does a theater play take to rehearse? So if you know actors, they rehearse many hours. And what about IT projects? For example, software implementation, development of software, or process implementation. I have one experience in past when I discussed with customer something what should be delivered, and then I asked them, when do you want to have it completed? And they replied, yesterday. So it means that also customers sometimes are rushing, and they are really busy, and they don't have time to prepare everything, and then they ask you, please, we need it. And when you ask when, they reply yesterday. So it is also important to be prepared for this part, that if a second side is not prepared well, you should be prepared. And also for any project, activity, or task is there are a lot of questions as part of preparation, but one question is the most important. And this most important question is why? Why do you need it? Why you want to have this feature? So why is really important. And in reality, it is sometimes like ad hoc meetings, and also sometimes it's like firefighting, that customer or developers, they have a lot of documents, and now it should be prepared, but it's not. So some examples regarding the preparation. What I recommend is that for any project, will be good to have preparation phase and also kickoff meeting, because you should understand who are team members, who are key stakeholders. And also, if you are working in multicultural teams, that it's not only that people are in the same country, but there are different regions, and also from which country. And finally, what is the responsibility? Because it's important that somebody is a team member, but also should be known his or her responsibility. As you see on these pictures, what is your responsibility? Receiving complaints and not doing something about them. And when we have discussion with customers, so they have any business demands or needs, and this should be in a written form, because if project is taking, for example, 6 months, nobody can remember what was mentioned 6 months ago. And also what I like is this simple template. as a user or role, I want to have something because the benefits, and this is important to know the benefits, why user want it, why customer ask it. And also what is good to have project review with customer. And this is part of a preparation. So it means that during preparation phase, you can prepare also how will be user acceptance testing. And my recommendation is not only when it's completed, but also after 6 months, because some issues are visible later. And what I like is these 7 guiding principles. First, it was used during ITIL practitioner, and it is like the Magnificent 7. And first one is that for any new project, any process implementation, I always follow this guiding principle. First one is focus on value. So why? Why are we doing it? Why customer want it? What value are they expecting? Start with why. Sometimes as part of problem management is used ask 5 times why. And the same is with focus on values. Ask 5 times customer why. Second, it start where you are. So it means that also you need to understand what is the starting point, what is the current state, and what is final state, so target state. Third is progress iteratively with feedback. So this is example of agile approach. So small steps, review, prepare pilot phase, or sometimes use also MVP, minimum viable product. Important is communication and collaboration. So number 4, collaborate and promote visibility. And finally, look at it also from a big picture. So it means to see big picture, because one project has impact of any other. So one change could impact other projects or activities or processes. And finally, 6, keep it simple and practical. So also lessons learned, not bureaucracy. And optimize and automate. Also, I highlight first optimize and then automate. And finally, use common sense. It is not it's not mentioned in guiding principle, but really use common sense. Sometimes it's something good in ITIL, something is better in DevOps or Scrum or ITIL or Prince2. And you could be inspired also from other industries. And finally, when you follow these guiding principles, then you have more power. And as is mentioned on this picture, that day 7 are like a 700. First point was focus on value. This is another example that also I highlight. What is value for customer? And we should understand also business priority and the impact. So it means what they need and when they need, because sometimes it's something delivered, but really too late. And customer expected it earlier, and then the customer is not satisfied. Another inspiration for you could be this book, Agile Focus in Governance. For example, in June, we will organize also workshop with authors of this book. And when we prepared any agile activities and sprints in our company, this book really helped me to focus on agile approach from the top management. So it means that we had some sprints, but also the management should be focused. And this book really highlights some examples how management should be involved in agile approach regarding the Scrum sprints and so on. Number 3, cooperation, collaboration, one team. Also, as I mentioned, as part of preparation, you should understand who is team members and what is really good to have really some workshops and discuss some topics together. So it means more people, more ideas, and inspire each other. And also one rule is don't criticize any ideas. Maybe you know it. And what also we have in the team as one member should be constructive troublemaker or devil's advocate. But it's important to involve this person later. So not during the first discussion about ideas, but really involve him later. And finally, again, if we use something in past, so lessons learned, don't reinvent the wheel. And what I sometimes received as answer from our customers or users, we are really busy. So then I show them this picture and they understand, okay, we find the time. Number 4 is communication is really important. And now I'm going to answer a question why a Finn and India need Czech. On the left side, you see Finn, and Finn in love, sad Finn, happy Finn, angry Finn, Finn in summer, and Finn in winter. No emotion. I spent many weeks in Finland, and also you can find that this is not true. So it means that each person is really individual, but generally, as we are talking about Finns, it's like that they have no emotion, but it's not true. What is really true, that they trust you. So this is one thing which is not known about Finns, that if they are discussing something with them and you answer, yes, it is possible. If they ask you, this service can be delivered or can be developed, and you answer yes. When they ask, can be delivered by end November, and you answer yes, so they take it as a gentleman agreement. So it means that still you have a signed contract, but what is mentioned during the meeting in the office, then it is taken by them that it is agreed. And question like, I need this feature, it is possible? Answer yes. I want it by end November. Is it possible? Yes. And now look at the Indian culture. They have defined in their culture that they cannot say no. And imagine that Finn and Indian is sitting in the one meeting room, and Finn asking, I need this feature, is it possible? And answer is yes. I want it by end of November, and answer is yes. And question is that both sides now expect that it is possible because they receive the answer yes. Next, that the Indians, as part of culture, that they need to be polite, so they answer yes. And what is the role of Czech? Czech people are really pessimistic, and also we see many problems. And first, our answer is not. It's not possible. We cannot deliver by end of November. But finally, we are really flexible and we are able to resolve it and fix it. So this is only example that the different cultures have different opinions, different point of view for something. And this is another example. So you see the description of culture A on the left side and culture B on the right side. And there are Germans. So if you read it, that maybe you could highlight, okay, that maybe it could be on the left side. And question, where are Italians? So you could see that also there are really optimistic, emotional, so it's culture B. And question, where are Americans? On the left side or both, or on the right side? And answer is both. And for example, Czech, we are creative, innovative, hardworking, but also, as I mentioned, really complaining and really pessimistic sometimes. So this exercise is also highlighting that you can see somebody or yourself on the left side, sometimes on the right side. And what is important, that something is visible, like religion, age, but many things are not visible, like your skills, your experience, background, that working patterns, and any specialization. And also anybody is individual. And this is also example that your experience, working patterns are really different, and important is empathy, and that you should recognize opposite side. For this reason, when I have meeting with customer, I recommend to have meeting and arrange meeting in their office, because then you can see the company culture. If you work with people from different countries, maybe this website could be really inspiration for you to recognize also different cultures. So this is example that you can select for countries. For example, now I selected the Czech Republic, India, also Portugal and United Kingdom. And there are some areas, and there is also described. So in the text, you will see the description of each culture and some highlights what are specific for each culture. And really interesting is that in power distance India, they are focused on task. But as you see that, for example, in uncertainty avoidance, that you are leaders. And for example, in individualism, United Kingdom is. So this is a really great website, and I recommend to look at it. And some examples, and this is my experience, because I'm responsible for teams in different regions, and one region is APEC, that they recognize also the respect and authority that somebody is older, and it means that if he make mistakes, still he is true, and this is important to know. And also what I highlight, really important, is explain anything, and also verification is required, that both sides understand well the topic. So for this reason, I use also written form, like meeting minutes, and highlight some main points during the meeting with people from Japan, Korea, and China. Regarding India, they are great in telling the story. Also, as I mentioned, that cannot say no, but this is not true now. 10, 15 years ago, it was true, but also people are trained to be really more focused on Europe side, and for this reason, they are really ready to answer the questions. But the general recommendation is use open-ended questions, and what Indians should improve, keep it simple. Sometimes they are talking a lot, and it's important to highlight only main points. And regarding Czech Republic, as I mentioned, that we are hardworking, complaining, but we are also creative, flexible, so we can find the solution. And if we have time during Q&A, that maybe I can answer what does it mean that I mentioned there, beer and robot. And for example, Sweden, I spent many weeks in Sweden, and what is important that this culture is really focused on to discuss topics deeply, and also what is highlighted, not too much, not too little. And this is a real example for Sweden culture. Next, regarding German sites, because we have also offices in Germany, really important is that they have strict laws and rules, and Works Council. It's a really important part of any discussion and part of implementation of any project. Works Council is key stakeholder. And in the UK, lessons learned and meeting minutes, and also they strictly follow hierarchy. In Italy, my experience is that they see everything is okay, no problem, they manage it, but also they are asking a lot. And this is good to clarify some points. And finally, I have a lot of friends in Africa, and what I learned from them, they mentioned, you have the watches, we have the time. And this is good also for negotiation. Finally, regarding the cultures, and if you have many people, if you have users or members from different from different countries, that also I recommend to use this tip, and many articles online are regarding specific cultures. Now I'm going to last point, different point of views. Question, what do you see? One sees 6, another sees 9. Both are right. Just because you are right doesn't mean I am wrong. And this is a scenario which I see many often during the discussion with customer or with users. What is also important, don't give your first impression, and details matter. So when I start now adding some details and explaining, then it's better understand that I am talking about this number, so about number 9, for example. So from your point of view, what do you see, and then better understand it. Finally, what I use one miracle question. This is for 2 days training. I learned one question, but this one question I used many years, and this is, what do you mean? So I'm still asking and clarifying during the meeting, what do you mean, why you want it, and so on. So this is a summary. As I mentioned, 5 lessons learned. So takeaways. First is human error. So it's all about people, and we need to count that Dave is in our company, our team. Second, don't underestimate preparation, and my tips are ITIL's 7 guiding principles and book Agile Focus in Governance. Third, teamwork and collaboration as one team. Communication, also my recommendation is Hofstede Insights. And finally, don't give your first impression. I hope 20 minutes is over, and now it's time for your questions.
Thank you so much, Patrik Šolc. Yes, it is time now for questions. We don't have any questions by now, but for sure they will arrive soon. And maybe we can contact you later for these questions. Eu aproveito também para lembrar todos os que nos estão a acompanhar, todos os participantes desta nossa conferência, que durante as apresentações é a altura mais indicada para elaborarem as vossas questões, para deixarem aqui no espaço do bate-papo as vossas perguntas, uma vez que vamos ter de as agrupar e fazê-las no final da intervenção de cada orador, ao invés daquilo que aconteceria ao vivo, quando teríamos um período concretamente destinado a perguntas e respostas. Assim sendo, Patrik, thank you so much once again. All the best to you.
Obrigado.
E nós vamos prosseguir.